Good morning and welcome back to our Bible study on day 346. We are now looking at St. John's special insights in his Gospel. And here we have John chapter 2, verses 1 to 11, the first of his 7 signs, water into wine. I'll turn you round so you can read the text with me. On the third day, a marriage took place in Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Also invited to the marriage were Jesus and his disciples, and the wine ran out. So Jesus' mother said to him, "They've run out of wine." Jesus said to her, "Oh, mother, this isn't our problem. It isn't the right time for me yet." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he says." There were 6 stone water butts standing there for the Jewish washing rituals. Each one held about 75 to 100 litres, and Jesus said to them, "Fill the water butts with water." They filled them up to the brim. And he said to them, "Ladle some out now and take it to the master of ceremonies." And they took it to him. But when the master of ceremonies tasted the water that had become wine and didn't know where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew, the master of ceremonies called the bridegroom and said, "Everyone puts the good wine on first, and when they've had time to drink plenty, then they put on the second-rate wine. You have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this, the first of the signs, in Cana in Galilee, and revealed his brilliance, and his disciples believed in him. Down through the ages, there have been so many different ideas about this first sign, and people have not stopped asking questions about it. Whose wedding was it? Why did Jesus' mother have so much influence on what was going on? Was it a real wedding, or is it a what-if story that started as a parable? I'm going to tell you what I think, and I'll share some of the things others have said along the way. Now, there is a kind of symmetry between the first week of Jesus' ministry here and the week at the end of it, which ends with Easter Sunday. John has hinted at this by introducing today's story with the words, "on the third day." It is clear that at Easter it is Christ who becomes united with his church, and that has caused some commentators to suggest that this is Jesus' wedding, perhaps to his beloved church, although some have suggested that the bride might have been Mary Magdalene. Now, that idea has, of course, been given some prominence by the Dan Brown novel The Da Vinci Code. Others, more plausibly, have suggested that since Cana was where the disciple Nathanael came from, you can see John chapter 21, verse 2, that it might have been Nathanael's wedding or that of a family member. I believe it was just a village wedding, and the family hadn't catered for an extra 12 guests and their supporters all turning up, which is why they ran out of wine in the first place, and why Jesus, once he had his attention drawn to this, felt it was up to him to make up the deficiency, which he did with divine gusto. John uses a respectful form when talking about Mary. Just calling her Mary would have seemed rude, so he calls her politely the mother of Jesus. Some have suggested that she shows a lot more influence over what is happening than would have been appropriate for someone who was just a guest. If it had been Jesus' wedding, wouldn't she have paid for the catering? Actually, I can't see any of that in the story myself. Jesus and his disciples are enjoying themselves. Mary, sitting quietly in the background, has noticed the anxiety on the servants' faces as the last of the wineskins is emptied, and she has a quiet word with her son. This is such a low-key miracle. No prayer to the Father, no revelation for the crowd to wonder at. just the pouring in and drawing off from the water butts. And apart from the servants, who of course saw everything, the man in charge of the catering is the only one who shows any surprise at all. And his surprise is not that water has become wine, but that they've held back serving the good quality wine until the end. A sign, then, that hardly anyone noticed except the servants. Delightful. So, as John says, this first sign was just a start, and it was the first time his glory was revealed, but only to the servants and to his immediate followers. There are lessons to be learnt from how this sign has been interpreted down the ages. It's never a good idea to let our imagination run away with themselves. All we need to know is included in the text. The people who should be in the know and who think they are in charge, in fact, have no idea what's going on. And this theme continues as John gently unfolds his explanation in the following verses, the following chapters. John gently unfolds his explanation first in John's conversation with Nicodemus, which we shall look at tomorrow, and then in his encounter with the woman by the well on the day after. I'll be very happy to see you then.